Welcome back to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery, and my guest today is Colonel James Avery, and we've been talking about all the aspects of being in the military, from all the advantages and the benefits that you got to some of the drawbacks. And we really haven't talked about many drawbacks because you didn't find many drawbacks.
I ate it all up.
But I wanted to talk a little bit this time about some of the specific personal qualities you got. And I know integrity,
yep.
appearance,
and I try to talk
social
to
skills.
I use all those, and of course I mentioned I went into basic training not knowing anything. I was scared to death, like the normal person was. I was only 19, thinking that people are going to be just beating you on you all day, every day. Basic and initial training is not that difficult. It's challenging, but basically you just have to do kind of what you're supposed to do anyway.
But it's not so tough that
anyone can do it if wants to, because millions of people have gone through that in all 5 of our services. It's just like getting up in the morning and making your bed and cleaning your room when you're in high school. That's just kind of something you do.
Except a lot of parents don't make their kids do that.
It was very challenging and difficult at times, but you look back and it's the most fond memory I have is going through Army basic training. As a basic trainee and enlisted E1. And that's where I learned a lot of my values, because you look around and see people that fight the system. They don't want to do the right thing. They don't. I'm not going to do that. I'm not.
They rebel at anything.
And you can't succeed in life. You don't succeed in life by doing that. That's why we've got people in prison, because they fight the system. You've got to do the system, and I teach that in school. There's integrity. Do the right thing,
and be true to yourself.
And learn the skills that you're supposed to learn. These high school kids are applying for jobs, part-time jobs, whatever they may be. Make sure you can fill out and write coherently. What is acceptable? What is a norm in life? Is it normal to have your pants with half of your rear end showing? That's really not acceptable. An employer is after one thing. He doesn't care if you graduated from Midland High School, Odessa High School, any high school. That CEO, whatever it is, wants his job to make money. And if you can make him money by your appearance, your attitude, your conduct, your body language, your integrity, he's going to hire you.
But if you turn the customers off, or the clients off,
they've got people standing in line waiting for that job. And I kind of go on overboard sometimes as a substitute teacher teaching that. What an employer is looking for: integrity, honesty, appearance, punctuality, be on time, come prepared, wear the right uniform. Whether it be a cook hat or an apron. Those are things you've got to succeed in life. And high school kids seem to fight that sometimes. Nonconformist. You can't be a nonconformist and really succeed. You've got to do what you're supposed to do, even as you grow up as an adult. And I see adults that I graduated from high school with that are still not productive.
Rebelling.
They're still rebelling, saying, well, that's the way to do it, and it's just not that way. But you've got to
and then also griping because the world hadn't been fair to them.
They say, well, look how lucky he was. He got to do that, and you got to do. You make your own luck. I can promise you, an individual makes their own luck.
I agree.
It just doesn't happen. You make things happen.
But as you were going through basic training, and you were learning all of this, you learned valuable skills that lasted you a lifetime. But some of the things you don't ever remember people saying, integrity is important. And so then you got up there and that concept really became real to you.
As you progress up in rank and responsibility and positions, you're going to put in a position to compromise something. And you've got to make that right decision. It goes back to what have you been taught. And the military teaches that.
And the gray areas, there's really not many gray areas. There's a right way.
There's a right and a wrong way. What's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And you've been taught that. Military drills that because lives depend on that. When you're in combat, integrity, doing what you're supposed to do, doing what you're told to do, and if you don't, people die. That's pretty blunt, but people die if you don't do what you say you're going to do.
But the same way in the workforce. If you build a car and you are slacking off of your job, somebody's going to get killed.
Use inferior material, inferior work, cut corners, save time, cut corners. All that always will come back to bite you.
That's right.
integrity is something that my daughter looks at me and says, I think my dad's is honest, has some integrity, and I always want to think that. The students that I teach, I hope they feel the same way, because that's critical in life. And once you've lost that, you've lost it.
And one of the other skills that I know that you have excelled in is organization. And because we are a lot alike, it drives us crazy when you try to work with someone who doesn't keep lists and doesn't have
and I write everything down that I'm trying to do. It's called the backward planning sequence.
That's right.
And I've nearly, it's good, but I've made my wife and daughter basically the same way now, because that's what they grew up with. You know, when you're supposed to be somewhere at 9 o'clock, you've got to leave your house at 7:30.
You work backward, okay?
The backward planning sequence to be there.
6 errands, then
that's taught, and it's taught in the military. You have to do that. I don't think it's taught very much in school. How long does it take to drive, to get ready, to be there, to get set down? And as I sub, class normally started at 8:35. I want to be there at 7:30 to read, get myself mentally prepared, so when the kids come in, I'm ready. More so than they are. But that's true in any lifestyle.
That's true.
And we need to teach young people that, and I guess we need to teach some adults that as well.
That's right.
You've got to have the backward planning and be prepared, organize, make a list of things so that you don't, we're fixing to take a trip to Mexico. And I've got a 2-page list of things to make sure that I pack so that I know that I'm taking what I'm needing. We've got an RV and we travel a lot. So you've got to have a complete list. And you backward plan.
And listen, that brings up, you have 5 retirements. And one of the benefits of being in the military is the financial benefit.
Yes, I've got good retirement pay from the military because I served 30 years in the military. I taught school for 13 years, so I'm drawing 2 teachers' retirements from 2 different states. And we have the travel benefits, of course, in the military because we can travel pretty well free. And with the RV, we stay on the RV sites on military installations, visiting friends that we know all over the nation. So you've got a camaraderie built in that most organizations don't have.
Plus you've got a job, so you're getting another one. So you've got more money rolling in than you had when you were.
I don't think I'll ever retire.
Well, we have just a minute more before this program ends, and it's been such a delight to have you. But is there anything else that you would like to say about the military in general or specifically?
Yes, it is a very, very honorable profession.
Good.
It's an honorable profession, and parents need to be proud that a child would go into any one of the services, Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, or Coast Guard. They're all good, they're all bad. It's exactly like the real world. It's going to be what you make of it. If you want to have a horrible time working at United or Exxon or Xerox, you're going to have a horrible time. If you want to have a horrible time in the military, it's going to be a horrible time. It's your attitude. Attitude determines altitude. And attitude is a key to life. And have a positive attitude. No one likes to be around a negative person.
That's true.
We like positive.
And the important thing is that check out your opportunities, whether it's in that or something else, because there are lots and lots of opportunities. It's been such a pleasure to have Colonel Avery with us today, and we'll see you next Sunday with another program. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions for him, call my number and I'll make sure you get in touch with him. We'll see you next week.
Happy to speak to anyone.
Yes.
I'll recruit them.
Okay. And we'll see you next Sunday with another program. Thanks for joining us today. Good.